All right guys, so we are back into it again tonight. The last video that you've seen, I got it running. I neatened up the wiring that was on the front, which is looking really good just there. I've got the steering working for now. I haven't finished welding up all the tack welds that I've done. I've just roughed it in a little bit at the moment just to make sure that it works. I don't want to commit to the welds or anything like that when I may have to cut it back off. So where I'm at tonight is I've got the accelerator that I made last time for the steering wheel. It's a bit hard with only one hand and one hand on the camera, but that's the accelerator. And just up there moves that. So basically what I'm gonna try and do is I wanna mount that on my right hand foot, just down here in some way so I can press it with my foot. I don't know whether I'm gonna redesign that press point just there and make a new mount or anything like that. I need to make a section where you put your feet on just there. So that's what I'm gonna get into tonight. guys, that's a wrap for tonight. I've spent a bit of time working on the accelerator pedal. I've reused the thumb throttle and some of the other bits and pieces that were originally from the quad. So what I've got here is, I've got the cut down step because I removed the front of it because the tires were so big before, but wish I didn't cut it down because the tires are smaller now. As you can see just here, I've just used a bit of flat bar. I bent up a bit more flat bar. I've drilled a 5.5mm hole to allow the accelerator cable to come through. Seems to be working quite nicely. I can adjust the height of the pedal there by bending the bracket. And once I get it into position where I want to keep it, what I'll do is I'll brace up all the bits and pieces that I've just tack welded at the moment. So yeah, that's a win. It's all working. So I've had to make a few changes to the plan. I've reassembled the footsteps. This section was cut off before because the original wheels that I had on here were clashing on just there. So I found the old parts, the old bit of metal, I've welded those back on there. Coming around to the other side where I had already made the accelerator pedal that you would have seen previously, I've had to cut that off. I'm not happy about that. So basically, this was the pedal that I had mounted up there. And as you can see, the tire hit it. So scrap that idea. My next step is I want to mount the accelerator pedal so it protrudes through the floor when I fill this in with a bit of sheet metal. I want it to pop up through the floor and you just press down, the top down onto this here. I'll have this pivot, I'll switch that around so it pivots underneath and have the accelerator cable come underneath. So you just press down lightly with your foot just there, up and down to accelerate the vehicle. Gonna give that a go and see how that goes this time, but probably won't work as well. So let's see. guys. So you saw in the last clip that I installed this side foot plate with the accelerator pedal on just there. It's working really well. The only downside to it is that the return spring is missing, so it's quite lazy to return to the up position or the off throttle position. Underneath there, I need to install a return spring that I'll need to get from Bunnings just to help pull it back into position and pull it back upwards a bit harder so that it gets off the throttle much faster. So you can see just a bit delayed. So yeah, I'll get that sorted soon. And the next step is to move on to the other side where I need to figure out the brake pedal. I have this original rear brake handle. I'm gonna, figure out some way to mount it up to the side just there if I can, so you can just put your foot and press down on it. I'm not gonna have it come up through the floor or anything like that. It needs a lot of leverage on it because it does need a lot of force to pull those rear brakes on. So probably just gonna put a bit of tube up there and mount it as if it was mounted on the handlebars, tucked up underneath there, and just jam your foot down hard on it, and then it will pull the rear brakes on. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and traced out the template that I had for the other side. This will be for the left-hand side, for the brake pedal side. I won't cut out the slot just there because there's no need, but the other side is basically just the same, but mirrored over. Use my cardboard cutout, traced around it just there, and I'm just gonna cut that out now and then tack it onto the other side. Guys, I'm absolutely stoked with how this turned out. I've mounted tube off the chassis rail just there with the rear brake lever. So the way that it works is you just push down on it with your foot, straight down, pulls the rear brakes on. I'll have to adjust those so they respond to that range of motion, but that's perfect. You'll be able to just rest your foot on there when you're using it up high and then put all your weight down on there and pull those rear brakes on.